She didn't walk away because you were weak. She walked away because she thought you'd always stay. She thought your kindness was desperation. Your loyalty was neediness. Your silence? Weakness. But silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's control. It's stoicism. She thought you'd chase. She thought you'd beg. She thought you'd collapse without her. But you didn't. You sat in your pain. You faced it. You felt it fully. Then you rose. You didn't need to post anything. You didn't need to prove anything. You didn't need revenge. You just walked away. Not with anger. Not with games. With peace. And that shook her more than any words ever could. Because now, every time she's alone, when the room is quiet and no one's texting her back, when the temporary excitement fades and the masks drop, she remembers you. She remembers how you made her feel safe without asking for anything in return. How your presence felt like peace in a world full of noise. How your arms were a shelter, not a cage. How your words healed wounds she never admitted she had. She remembers how you noticed the pain behind her smile. How you saw through her moods, her walls, her silence. How you stayed patiently when she gave you nothing but cold replies and distant stares. When others would have walked, you stayed. When she pushed you away, you came closer. Not because you were weak, but because you loved her with a heart that knew loyalty. She remembers the man who listened, not just to what she said, but to what she couldn't say. The man who tried over and over even when it was never acknowledged. The man who gave, not to impress, but because it was in his nature to care deeply. You gave her consistency in a world addicted to chaos. You gave her patience when she gave you pride. You gave her understanding when she gave you confusion. You gave without keeping score, because your love was real. But real love, when taken for granted, doesn't stick around forever. And now she sees what she lost. Not just a boyfriend, not just a man. She lost the rarest kind of soul, the one who meant it, the one who chose her on her bad days, the one who wanted to build something real when she still wanted attention from everyone else. But here's the difference. You didn't beg. You didn't chase. You didn't scream, argue, or try to prove anything. You simply walked away, with dignity, with silence, with peace. You stopped waiting for her to finally see your worth, because you saw it yourself. You stopped needing her validation, because you validated yourself. That's not ego. That's real strength. And now she sees the truth too late. You weren't just good to her. You were good for her. But the man who gave everything, he's not available anymore. He's focused now. He's healed. He's rising. And she'll never feel that kind of love again. You see, Stoicism isn't about pretending you don't feel anything. It's not about being cold or emotionless. It's about learning how to feel everything without letting it control you. It's the art of standing still in a storm, not because the wind doesn't shake you, but because you've learned how to stand firm anyway. You felt the pain, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the disappointment that hits hardest when the one you trusted turns distant. But you didn't run. You didn't numb yourself with distractions. You sat with it, faced it, let it break you, but not destroy you. Because pain was never your prison. You made it your teacher. You turned pain into purpose, a reason to level up, a reason to become stronger, sharper, more focused. You turned silence into strategy. You stopped arguing with people who already decided not to understand you. You stopped begging for attention you should have never had to ask for. You realized that sometimes saying nothing is louder than any speech. You turned heartbreak into self-mastery. Not by getting even, but by getting better. Not by chasing closure, but by creating distance so real that nothing she says can shake you again. You hit the gym, not for revenge pics, not to show off, but because your body became the first battlefield, and winning there gave you power back. You didn't just lift weights. You lifted the heaviness off your chest. Rep by rep, sweat by sweat. You trained your body, and in doing that, you trained your mind. You stopped explaining yourself to people who never tried to understand your heart. You stopped oversharing with those who used your truth against you. You no longer needed to be heard, because now you listened to yourself. You started respecting yourself, setting boundaries, saying no without guilt, saying enough without shame. You chose discipline over drama, peace over proving yourself. And now you move differently, not to impress, but to protect the man you've become. That's Stoicism. Not emotionless, but emotionally undefeated. She'll try to come back. Not with a full apology, no. It'll start small. A hey at midnight. A meme you used to laugh at together. A random memory she knows will pull at your heart. It's not love, it's testing the door. She wants to know if it's still open. But this time, you won't answer. Not out of bitterness, not to play games, but because you finally respect your peace more than her attention. Because what she lost wasn't just a man. She lost the version of you that kept choosing her, even while losing himself. And he doesn't exist anymore. You don't belong to the past anymore. You've outgrown the games. You've healed the wounds. You've built a life that no longer revolves around being enough for someone who couldn't see your worth. She didn't lose you when she walked away. She lost you long before that. She lost you the moment she started ignoring your effort. When she rolled her eyes at your vulnerability. When she punished you with silence and called it space. When she made your love feel like a burden instead of a blessing. She lost you when she treated your presence like a backup plan and your peace like an inconvenience. She thought your consistency meant you'd never leave. She thought your silence meant she still had control. But it didn't. It meant you were done explaining yourself. She mistook your loyalty for weakness, and that was her biggest mistake. Because now she sees. Men like you don't beg. Men like you don't chase. Men like you don't come back. She doesn't regret losing the arguments. She regrets losing the only man who actually gave a damn. And now she feels it. In the silence. In the absence. In the way your name still lingers, but your energy doesn't. But here's what matters most. You're not looking back. Because the man you are now, he doesn't respond to breadcrumbs. He doesn't open old doors that led to dead ends. He doesn't water the garden that refused to grow with him. You've moved on it with someone else, but with yourself. And the peace you've built, it's not something you'll trade for the chaos she once brought. Let her remember. Let her wonder. Let her scroll through old messages that once felt like home. Because the truth is, she didn't lose you when she left. She lost you when she stopped valuing the man who never stopped choosing her. And that kind of man, he doesn't return. He rises. So listen, you don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to prove a point. You don't need to show her how much you've changed. Because your absence says everything. Let her sit in the silence she created. Let her sit with the echoes of the love she used to ignore. Let her scroll through the empty space where your name once filled her phone. Let her feel what it's like to miss a man who never asked to be worshipped, only to be respected. Let her feel the weight of what she took for granted. Your effort, your loyalty, your consistency, your peace. You. Because you weren't just some guy in her life. You were the one who saw her in her chaos and stayed. The one who gave your energy freely, without conditions. The one who made her feel safe when the whole world made her feel small. But she ignored that. She ignored you. And now? Now you've learned. You've grown. You've embraced what Stoicism teaches, the kind of power no one sees at first glance. You've realized you never need to beg for what you bring value to. You never need to over-explain your heart to someone who refuses to understand it. You never need to chase someone who makes you feel like you're easily replaced, because now you understand something most men learn too late. Being calm doesn't mean you're weak. Being silent doesn't mean you're scared. It means you've mastered yourself. It means you've reclaimed your power. You are no longer hoping to be chosen, no longer shrinking yourself to fit into her comfort, no longer adjusting your standards to keep her attention. Now, you choose you. You choose discipline over distraction. You choose peace over performance. You choose growth over going in circles. You choose your future over her confusion. Because the man you are today, he's not waiting at closed doors. He's walking through new ones built on purpose, value, and unshakable self-worth. If this spoke to something deep inside you, if it reminded you of your worth, if it helped you see your pain with clarity, not shame, then don't just scroll. Comment, "I choose peace." Let the world know you've made your decision, that you're done chasing chaos, that you're done begging to be seen, that from this moment on, peace isn't a hope, it's your standard. And don't just support this message for yourself. Support it for the men out there silently struggling, the ones who smile in public but bleed in private, the ones who gave everything and got nothing back, the ones who don't have the words for what they're feeling, but need to hear this to start healing. This isn't just content. It's a mirror, a message, a movement. Let's remind men everywhere that choosing peace isn't giving up, it's rising up. Together, we rewrite the story, one silent warrior at a time.